Hi, everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
So hope everybody's having a good weekend and enjoying the Memorial Day. And I just like to say thank you to all the servicemen and people who's been in the military or have family in the military. And thank you for your service. And we'll be thinking of you and remembering all the people in our families that's joined the military. My dad was a World War II veteran. And we have a flag display that goes down in one of our parks where you can walk around, and they all have plaques with their names on it and what service and what war they were in. And so that's always a fun thing to do for us around this time of year. And do you have anything you'd like to say, Jane?
No, I just want to say happy Memorial Day and stay safe. I know there's a lot of storms going on out there. I just want to welcome everyone in chat. I see Pixie and Gary, Roger, there's Thriller James, Aunt Edna. And let's see, I saw Amber Paraworld up there earlier. And if one of you mods, you got their Rumble link pinned by chance?
I have their I can't remember. I pinned it at the top as far as their Rumble. And then I have their book, or however they worked it out. I think it's Aaron's book that we just got. And I have it in the comments at the top.
I see Heidi Pop. There's D.A. Roberts. Hey, D.A. Yeah, so if you want to, you mods, you want to post the Rumble link, the Journey to Truth, that would be wonderful.
So I hope everybody saw the thumbnail in the background that we have Journey to Truth, which is Tyler Kiwala and Aaron Kuhn from Journey to Truth on tonight, and it's going to be a great show. But before we get to them, I wanted to make a special announcement that on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be starting a new podcast. It's going to be Dennis Carroll and myself. And it's the Road Less Traveled. We're going to bring up subjects that you might have known a long time ago or maybe never heard of. So it's not going to be the normal everyday cryptid paranormal subjects. This is going to be about ancient artifacts and mysteries and myths and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully we'll bring in some new information that maybe you don't know, or it might be something that you've experienced before and forgot about it. And so that's what we're going to be doing on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern. So let's go ahead and bring Tyler and Aaron up, and we'll let them introduce themselves and tell us all about what they've been doing. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
Guys. Thanks so much for having us.
So if you guys would like to just tell our audience a little bit about what you guys are about and stuff like that, then we'll get going with the normal stuff that we usually talk about.
So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we started a podcast. It feels like that. It's amazing how time just seems to feel different these days. But about 5.5 years ago, we started a podcast as just something fun. We both knew we wanted to be part of this movement. We didn't know how. And Aaron had the idea to start a podcast, so we did, just audio only, completely rudimentary, no experience. We learned the hard way every step of the way. And 5 years later, we've hosted 3 conferences now. We've done a feature-length documentary on the Cahokia Mounds, which we could actually talk about tonight. It would be a great subject.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do webinars now, monthly webinars, and we're working on our second documentary right now as we speak. And it's just turned into so much more than a podcast, and it's amazing. And we cover all things truth-related, awakening, ascension, spirituality, alternative health, government corruption, secret space programs, you name it, we cover it. We don't shy away from really anything. That's why we ended up getting taken off of this platform that we're on now.
Yep.
And we won't say too much about that because we want to preserve your channel and all of our friends who are still on YouTube. And Aaron, if you want to add to that.
Yeah. I mean, everything Tyler said, we've been doing this for like almost 5.5 years now, and we never dreamed we'd be doing conferences and documentaries and webinars and I just came out with my first book a few weeks ago, and all kinds of stuff. So, and just have the following that we have now, and the amazing, people that we're able to have on our show, and to be on shows like your guys, being invited on shows, and all of it. It's phenomenal, and it's mind blowing. And we're truly blessed and to be able to do this. And it's amazing to just be a part of the movement and the awakening. And this information is like, it's being more talked about, and it's more accessible than ever before. So it's a beautiful thing to actually be able to be a part of like that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for having us on. We're excited.
Are you planning a 4th conference next year?
We are.
Good.
Yeah.
Same place?
4th and a 40th. We're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I believe it's same place for next year, right, Tyler?
Right. Yeah. Next year, at least one more year, and then at the same place, and then we might branch out just to shake things up a little bit, and then maybe come back for like a reunion conference back at Grafton. But we're just going to let the universe take the wheel like we always do, and not force anything. So it's going to be good. We're excited about it.
Awesome.
Now we had mentioned your book that you guys, or I know it says Aaron on it. Then you did the preface or
the forward. Yeah.
Forward. I'm sorry. Yes.
Right.
So we just got this the other day. So we thumbed through it, but we really haven't had a chance to read it yet. So that's on our list coming up. I was hoping to get it here before the show tonight, but it didn't work out that way.
All good. Thank you so much for buying it. So that book, I've been trying to write a book for like maybe 6 or 7 years now. And you know how it is, like it's not a priority, even though like I'm like, oh yeah, I want to write a book, but then I'll write a little bit and go months without writing anything, and then write a tiny bit more and go months again. Because we always, I have so much other stuff going on. It's just not a priority. And, I just kind of like whenever I have little hits of inspiration and think about it, I would do it. But for whatever reason, and I think it's divinely orchestrated, I had earlier this year, I had the push to like get my book done finally, and get it done by the conference. For whatever reason, I just like felt I needed to do that. But then I told Tyler that, and originally I was scheduled to be a speaker at our conference. And I'm like, Tyler, I'm feeling called to get my book done. I'm not going to be able to work out a whole presentation and do that. So I want to just focus on the book, give somebody else my speaker slot. So we got Margie K back again this year. She got my speaker slot. She was already going to be there anyway. And then Tyler's like, oh, funny you say that, because I just found out Jackie Kenner is doing a 6-week book writing course right now. You should totally look into that or sign up for that. I was like, oh.
Which would time the book being out right before the conference.
And it just happened to be right, perfect timing for that. And I checked it out, and we already both love Jackie, and I know she's amazing. And I knew just based off of that, it would be super helpful and, amazing, and helping me get the book done, and just forcing me to get it done, if nothing else. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So there's like there's about 11 or 12 of us total, including Jackie writing her book as well, her first book. And Tony was actually in that course, Tony Rodriguez.
Oh,
and
good.
He wrote his newest book, which is still not out yet, but it should be out really soon.
I think he just actually hit published the other night, so I think.
Oh, okay, so it is out. It is out.
Well, it's in like review. It's in the review.
It's in review, so it's not officially, but any second now it'll be out, and it's on remote viewing. Actually, his new book is all on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Beyond Sight.
I've got his other 2 books. I'm gonna have to get this one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's phenomenal. I can't wait to get it. He was in it. Matthew Mornian, if you know who he is, he was in the class. Lily Nova was in the class, if you know who she is. She released hers right around the same time I released mine, and highly recommend Lily's book as well. And Jackie's book, Parked by the Exit, is amazing, and it's all about her owning her psychic medium gifts and stepping into that journey. And yeah, so it forced me to get it done, but it also helped me to get it done right. And like, it really, really helped in so many ways. So I think she's or signing up, having signups for the next round right now. So anyone who wants to check into that, look up Jackie Kenner. She's all over, I think, social media, and the internet, and you should be able to find her, find that. But anyways, yeah, so I wrote this book in like 6 weeks, which is
Wow.
which is insane to me. I still don't even know how I did that, but it was a lot of late nights, staying up till like 3-4 in the morning writing. And I just kind of like, that deadline just forced me to write every single day, because I knew I had to do this. And I would just write as much as I could every day and stayed up late at night to get it done until I just ran out of steam and just was like, all right, I'm done, but kept that momentum going until it was like done, so.
I bet that was a relief.
Yeah, it was a huge relief getting it, finally having it done. Because then once the writing was done, then I had to do all the formatting, which took way longer than I expected, and was way more than I was like, oh man. And then even after that, like uploading it to Amazon. So we all self-published through Amazon, or through Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon. And I didn't realize, so it gives you like the preview of the page layouts of how it all is going to look in the printed form, and how it looks on the Kindle Create software that we did the formatting on is not how it looks on the printed form. So I had to go through literally page by page and like make sure it all lined up and looked nice. And like, it took like hours and hours just to do that. It's like, so it was like another like over a week actually, just in the formatting, and then that just to get all that set. And I was like, for like a little over 7 weeks, my entire life was like consumed by getting this book. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally done. And I'm so happy to finally have it done. And it feels amazing that I'm like, I finally did it, And kind of just like included my whole story in there, the story of the podcast, meeting Tyler and forming the podcast, the story of meeting my love, Amanda, and how that happened. And just everything that brought me to where I am today. And then I include just a wide range of information. And I kind of try to show how it all ties together, ETs, UFOs, ancient civilizations, who we are on a soul level, and how like, what's going on the planet now, what, just everything basically. And then I also have a whole chapter that's all different ET contactees and kind of their information. And then Lily Nova wrote a whole guest chapter.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of like a little preview of her book and her story. And let's see, I got it right here. Yeah, there's just like a lot. I try to make it so like any person, even if somebody that's not in this community at all, that's not even into this stuff, can pick up this book and like get something out of it, and at least have some seeds planted to like get those sparks, of interest, like curiosity going, even if they know nothing about any of this stuff. But also people like us who know about a lot of this stuff, and it's not like, oh, it's just a bunch of stuff I haven't heard, or I've heard a million times before. It's like, you're still going to get a lot out of it, I feel like. So that's kind of how I tried to write this one.
Yeah. It seems like people now are writing books, and it's hard to do for like us, or maybe you guys, because we're not sitting there 24 hours in front of the computer or typewriter, however you do your inspiration and typing and writing your book. But I mean, it's not like the old days where people, that's all they were authors. They wrote books.
Right.
Now in our
right.
time, it's like, your podcasters, your guests on shows, you go out and do investigations. So it's like, just like you said, you sit down, you write a little bit, then you go off and do something that's coming up, and then you try to get back. And so I imagine that was a hard process, trying to keep that in the back of your mind all the time, keeping the flow of the pages going and the stories.
Yeah, well, it helps so during that whole period of time, I just knew I had to write every single day to keep that flow going. Because when you stop writing and then try to come back in a few days, like, you just lost all your momentum. At least that's how you know, in my experience. So like, you just got to like keep, even if you're writing and it's like not coming out great, you got to just like keep writing. And then like, eventually you're going to get in that flow state where it's just clicking and things are, you know, it's just kind of flowing out of you. And well, and it also depends on what type of book you're writing. Because my book, there's a lot of that writing of just like flow state, stream of consciousness, almost kind of stuff. But then there's also a lot of research and information. So I was constantly having to look up stuff and look, you know, include information from different sources, and I had to come back and put it in and then go look up something else and come back, and quotes, and, you know, oh, I know this quote, I got to go find it and then copy and paste it into here. And, you know, and then I'd put all a bunch of the pictures in at the end and find all the pictures I wanted to use. And it was a lot. So it took, I don't know how I did it in that amount of time, because it was a lot of work, but, you know, it was just a lot of late nights basically. And I did it. And that just proves, like, if you want to do something, you can do it. Like, you'll figure out a way to do it, you know? And yeah, I mean, if I can do this book in 6 weeks, then like anyone can write a book in that time or less, if you put your mind to it and set out the time to just do it. But like you said, we all have so much going on. It's hard to do that. And Tyler and I did a whole, like, so we do a webinar like every other month on our Patreon. And one of those was during that period of time. So I even had to work on the webinar a little bit. You know, we're still doing the podcast the whole time. I'm doing other stuff in my life, you know, doing other things to make money and other things as well. So like, it's not like I just had all of the hours of every day to just write too. So I had to like still jam it into, you know, the free time that I had with other stuff. So, but you can do it, you know, like I'm proof that if you really want to do something, you'll figure out the time and figure out a way to do it. And even if it's exhausting, like once you get it done, it's done. And now I have it for life, you know? So, yeah, thank you so much for picking it up though. And,
yeah, so everybody go out there, and I pinned it, and I think Gary's pinning stuff in the chat, or he's posting the link to the Rumble, and I put the book link up there for Amazon up at the very beginning of chat if people can scroll back. Otherwise, we'll put it up there again. We were talking before the show that how we met, and I'll let Jane explain how we followed you guys for a while, or she did before me, obviously, but then we sent you a video, and I thought I'd play the original video that we sent to Tyler, and he actually did a voiceover for us. I think you guys had it on your channel or put it in your community or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll play this real quick so people can see what we find in our backyard, amongst other things that we look at and investigate and do stuff. So here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? This video was sent to us from a fan of ours who lives about 4 hours away in Henry, Illinois. She recorded this on May 26, 2021, around 10 p.m. with her night vision camera. As you can see, this thing looks exactly like the Mothership that was recorded at East Eddy Ranch a few nights ago, and a few other people caught it as well. I don't know what this thing is flying around, but it's very interesting. If you guys have any thoughts, let us know in the comments. Thank you.
Amazing. Yep, that right there. We just got our psionics camera. We've had the ATM binoculars for a few years, checking out orbs and things. So we invested in the psionics. So we were just getting used to the settings, and that's why it's all color and everything. But I mean, shortly after you uploaded it on your channel, we just went, you know what? We might as well just start our own channel, upload my orb videos and the other videos that I'm catching of flashes and power-ups. So I just want to say thank you very much, because that actually started Midwest Night Watchers. So we
Nice.
just uploaded for a few years. Never dreamed that we'd be doing a podcast ourselves. We've been doing this for over a year now, interviewing. And so, yeah, that mothership just kind of took off, and that's what started Midwest Night Watchers. So I just want to thank you very much for uploading that. It's not on YouTube anymore,
Yeah.
since you guys got taken down, but I do appreciate it, and I want to say thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for
course.
reaching out and sending it to us.
Thank
And,
you. Yeah.
a lot of the comments were like, oh, it's Starlink or this.
A lot of
and
people
that.
were trying to say it was Starlink. I remember. Yeah.
But I mean,
We looked it up. There was not Starlink launched. We looked it up.
right. But the
Right.
thing about Starlink also, it's become the new weather balloon. Everyone,
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, everyone
is.
just they love to say it's Starlink, and I'm like, not everything is Starlink, or not everything is a SpaceX launch. Like that's
Right.
their two,
Right.
and of course they're just gonna do that. But
of course, a few of them are actually Starlink that people
Right.
think are, and they'll put that out, but that'll be the excuse they use to blanket everything as like that video as Star, and it's not.
Even when we posted the video on our channel, and I think I said the same thing to Tyler when I was talking to him or Jane, was that we put it as Mothership / Starlink because we didn't know really. I mean,
Right.
we thought it was a mothership, or we thought it was something unidentified, but it could have easily have been Starlink at the time. We didn't know.
right.
So we wanted our audience or whoever saw it to make up their own mind. I didn't want to sway them one way or another. So there's two answers. You figure it out and let us know what you think it is.
Yeah, there's
Right.
pros and cons to it. It was flying at a diagonal like geese. Well, Elon Musk doesn't do that. We have seen the train in the sky, and you see it following each other. This thing, I started close to the Quad Cities, and I thought it was a plane actually. And when it got closer, I saw that it was cigar shaped, ran in, got the psionics, started filming. Starlink isn't that low either. Starlink is up there higher.
Right.
I mean, there's just a lot of pros and cons to it. We still, we're not expert. We don't know what it was, but it was amazing to experience. And I've never seen anything that low since.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's a great catch. Yeah. And here we are now doing an interview with you guys on your show because of it. So that's so cool.
Yeah. And that got your show started. That's amazing. So there's the universe doing that to trigger you guys to start doing a show, probably. Who knows?
Right.
It's all divinely orchestrated, right?
And meeting a lot of friends. And yeah, I've been following Tony and all them for years. I never dreamed to do a podcast and actually interview them ourselves. And
right.
So yeah, I just feel that very first video we uploaded pretty much started our journey.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we just want to thank you guys, and let's talk about your conference that you had this year, and you had an exciting experience yourself this year, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So not me personally,
Not
as far
personally.
as far as Sasquatch goes, but there's every year. So Grafton is a paranormal hotspot, including Sasquatch and UFOs, and there was a really famous UFO sighting there decades ago. But there's a Sasquatch, like they have like a cutout, like a silhouette of a Sasquatch that they put up against, like in the woods there, and they have a sign that says "Do not feed the Bigfoot" or something along those lines.
It says be like Bigfoot, leave no trace.
Don't litter. Yeah,
Do
that's
not
what it
litter,
is.
something like that.
So anyway, it's like it's a thing around there, and every year there's been people, everyone that comes to our conference is either a psychic or a channeler or a remote viewer, or they're energy readers. They're tapping in. So every year people have either telepathic communication, they hear tree knocks, there's some sort of interaction, right? And it gets increased more and more until this year. We actually had two people that physically saw something, and a number of people, had still the telepathic communication. Margie Kay is a remote viewer, and she's one of the people who communicates with them. And apparently what they told her was that we are the only event at that place that they come out for. And they actually come close. And the very first night we were doing a sky watch, and we came down the hill from the sky watch, which is one of the most active sky watches that we've seen. And we had the satellite tracker, and not all of them were even coming up on the satellite tracker, and the big power ups and stuff. And so we came down the hill and we were by the bonfire, and I was sitting next to Sherry, and Sherry did band, and she was one of our presenters, and she saw something like walk. I thought it ran, but she saw it walk between the two buildings, like between some trees, between two cabins, and following it. And she's like, did you see that? And she was like kind of flipping out about it for a minute. And she's like, something just walked behind the cabins between those trees, something really big. And she's like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not seeing things. I just saw something and no one else saw it. We were all, she just happened to be the only one looking that way. I was right next to her, but I was facing the other way. So we kind of just left it at that. And then the next day, our friend Alexia Eisenhower was another speaker. She's like, hey, what color are the Sasquatch out here? I'm like, I don't know. No one's ever actually, said anything about a color. And she's like, well, my friend swears up and down she saw one peek around the tree and look at her last night whenever she was going into her cabin. And then it walked behind the cabins from tree to tree. And she said it was all white and she saw its face and everything. And it literally, it peeked around the tree. And she, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze for some reason. What was I going to say? Yeah. So we compared the times, and it was like minutes apart from when Sherry saw her, the one walk between the trees, and the same exact, she was staying in the same cabin where Sherry saw it walk. So they both saw the same one, we've concluded. And that's the first time we've actually had two people put eyes on it there, which is huge in my opinion, because everyone just hears a vocalization or a tree knock or something moves or, they mess with us. But to have the visual is really cool, I think.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, there's the people we've talked to, they've seen anything from the brown or almost blackish to silver, almost gray, like an older Sasquatch, not necessarily a Yeti that's all white, but kind of a silvery, like you were talking about. Some of them even say there's like even a little blue tint once in a while to their fur or whatever their coat is.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just like humans, like every single one of us has their own unique individual skin tone. And even if we're from the same area, and then especially other parts of the world. So you're going to get the same thing with Sasquatch. I mean, I truly believe that. Yeah.
There's all different types. Like the white is like Yeti. So I wonder if that's what that was.
Or albinos, like somebody said.
Albino, possibly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder if, maybe most of them weren't even white, but maybe that one was that she saw. I don't know. That's interesting.
Or it's nighttime and like your eyes can play tricks on you as far as the color goes. It could have been light brown. You never know.
Right. But yeah, last year Margie K was also a speaker. She was there, and she told her experience of what happened, where she was woken up in the middle of the night by a banging on her cabin, on the outside wall of her cabin, like really, really hard, like not a human could make that, it was clearly a Sasquatch, but it was only for her because her roommate was sound asleep, didn't wake up, didn't hear anything. And she's like, no one would have not woken up from that. It was like that loud.
Right.
And so it was like it was meant for her. And she woke up, and then she started being telepathically contacted by the Sasquatch. And they even, so she said, what was it? Okondo was the name of one of them.
I think so, actually.
Right? Okondo.
So, yeah.
And then she said there was a whole tribe of them there, and that was the one that contacted her. And she got messages from them. And,
right. And Abby Lynn
Lynn did the first year, actually.
Right.
2 years ago.
A number of people, I mean, basically they're there. And if you're in the right frequency, or you're one of the people that just always seems to have contact, it seems like they always have contact out there. And it's just pretty cool. And last year after the event, I came back to the conference because I left something there. I came back a couple days later, and I decided to hike some of the trails. There's trails everywhere up there. You can even get lost. Brad Olson actually did get lost, and he finally made it back. But but anyway, I was just guided down one of these trails, and you can just feel it, man. If you're intuitive and empathic at all, like you can feel there's a presence there. It's you don't even really need to like see it. You just know something's going on.
Yeah.
But I went down this one path, and it was spring, so none of the trees were dead, and there was these 3 trees that kind of like didn't fit in the landscape and alongside the trail, and each one, they were like equidistant apart. There was 3 of them, and each one was broken off at like almost stair stepped down. But these weren't dead trees, and they weren't. They were broken to the point where the bark was actually bent, meaning not snapped. So something like bent the tree, and it was done very symmetrically. It was stair stepped. It was 100% squatchy. Like it was just like. You had to really stretch your mind to explain it away as something natural. And I even have a picture of it somewhere, but I'd be here for 30 minutes scrolling through my phone to even find it. But I took a picture. I was like, this is not Mother Nature. No other trees were broken. They were green trees too. So it wouldn't have been snapped over from the wind.
Right.
They were
Right. And nothing else could have been able to do that, even human or animal or anything. So.
We've seen that in a lot of other people's pictures too, where they bend them almost touching the ground on the other side, great big tall trees and it doesn't break. So they've obviously done it while it was still alive and done it just right. Just almost like the Native Americans would have marked their trails where they'd make bends in the trees and have them grow different. So it'd be like a big arch gateway over a path, whether that Bigfoot wants you to enter or that's just for them. I really don't know what it's about.
That's what Margie said, that's how they mark portals. Like it'll be a dimensional gateway. And she said they'll do that with the archways sometimes. It's not just a random thing that they're doing for no reason. It's actually how it's like a portal marker. And, Jessica Jones, you guys know her, she covers that portals all the time. And they've experienced that with the cryptids, and there's definitely something going on, and they very much are multi-dimensional beings, in my opinion.
Right.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of trees? If you look at a really full, thick tree and you see a perfect circle in it, have you heard that those are portals?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple in our area, and it's just an absolute perfect circle, and they're bent down and to make a circle. And we've heard from a couple other people that, if you see a perfect circle in a tree, that's normally a portal.
Yeah, so they're healthy trees, and they have all the leaves and branches on it. But then in one section, you can just see all the way through that tree. And it's like a perfect circle.
Oh yeah, that's
really interesting. Yeah,
that I'll have to be on the lookout for that now.
Right, that's cool.
That is. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much though. Like up at we've had experiences up at East Eddy Ranch, at Board Camp Crystal Mine in Mena, Arkansas. There's hot spots.
Yeah.
I think they can be anywhere, including in the room with you right now.
Board camp, your board camp experiences were one of the most amazing. I mean, it's almost like funny how like obvious with the ball, the ball that he like lodges in, and then the Sasquatch runs up and hits the ball and goes flying.
Right. So they,
and
I'm not the only one. Like other people witnessed that too. Is
your dad.
My dad, but
that was in Arkansas.
Yeah, Mena, Arkansas.
Yeah,
I remember you telling that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's a very, very Sasquatch. It's like a hot spot. It's a very active area.
Vortex,
and it's a Native American ground. Actually, it's a lot of the tribes come there and hold ceremonies still. And it's I forgot what he called it. It's the land where they used to so whenever Native Americans used to hunt, they wouldn't they understood that there was a deal with the animals, right? They were coming here as a sacrifice, and then they would send the spirit away and help the soul transition, and there was a deal. They understood the deal. And that's something that vegans don't really, I think they missed that part of the story, that the animals understand why they're coming here. And it was all done with respect. So they would send the bison and whatever they were hunting to this mountain, to this vortex. And the vortex where they would send the souls to transition was board camp. And this is just coming from the Native American lore,
Right.
that they shared that with the owner. But so it's already an active spot, and they all are very matter of fact is about the Sasquatch. They know the Sasquatch. They communicate with them. They know them by name. They show up for them because they know how to, I guess, call them in through their ceremony. But when we go out there, they're always around. And the owner, he takes a clear beach ball and he puts a glow stick inside of it, and he wedges it up out into this like little field they have, and he said, so every once in a while, one of them will come by and will hit that ball, and so
Yeah.
we were just waiting for, and they also have like this bell that
you don't see it though. At least you guys didn't see it.
No.
It
But they also
invisible.
have a bell. He hangs a bell like in the tree line, so sometimes they'll ring the bell. But when we were there watching it, waiting, I don't know, it had been a while, and finally we all heard something like almost running, like walking fast, not like a full run, but like a jog. Heavy footsteps. We were looking for something, and the next thing you know, you literally hear a palm hit the beach ball and it goes flying. But and you don't see anything, but you could hear it, and you could hear the footsteps. You could hear the beach ball get hit, and you see the beach ball go flying, and then you could hear the footsteps go off. So we're like, whoa, holy cow! It was amazing because
it's like they're naturally cloaked without using technology.
They're naturally cloaked. They're like
they can still physically interact with the environment, obviously, but you can't see anything, so it's like they're cloaked. Yeah.
Well, and what we've from information that's been coming through from some people lately, it's like they say that they're not even hiding. It's really up to us to be able to see them. They're not, they don't, sometimes they can't figure out why we can't see them, and it's really a dimensional frequency thing. But so we went and put the ball back up, and he even let us do it just so to prove that like it was wedged, and like we wedge it in this like block and this piece of wood up on this whatever. He has a little contraption, and we're talking again, and I hear it coming back from the left again, and it comes back and it hits the ball the other way, and it's just wild, and then we see like these little orbs flying around too, and there's this thing like the Sasquatch, it's a crystal mine. So they'll like these crystals, they'll like place them they'll move them around all over the place. They play with these crystals, and sometimes a crystal will just like drop out of midair onto the stage, like next to you where you are, or there might even be one in your car. There might be one in your bed, in your cabin. Like this depends on what they do. So a crystal, we experience a crystal like basically just come out of midair. And
they're warm.
Yeah, they're warm, like something's been holding it,
Wow.
So it was just amazing. And then the Skywatch out there is incredible. The one night we were kind of bumming because it was super cloudy, and we went out there and the sky like parted. It was like Moses parting the seas. Like the sky parted. And we saw one of the biggest ships I've ever seen in my life. And it was so bright. It literally lit up the ground. It just got so big and powered up. And it was like almost took your breath away. It's like, wow, you feel like a kid at Christmas seeing this thing. And then it goes back, it just goes away. And then the clouds all came back. And it's like they literally opened the sky for us just to see that one thing. So it's, like, Expedition Unknown, Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, they've all been out there, just like East Ranch. It's like the East Ranch of Arkansas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing that, everybody has their fields, whether they're paranormal, Bigfoot, the cryptid and UFOs. But now anymore, it seems like people are starting to venture off, and because they're all connected. I mean, everything's connected, whether the UFO and Sasquatch or
mushrooms.
Paranormal. We talked about dimensions just a little bit ago. There's all these dimensional beings, or cryptids are dimensional. UFOs can go through the stargates, and they're dimensional in a way. So you got to open your eyes and not just concentrate on just the paranormal or whatever. I mean, it's all connected, and somehow they interact with each other, and it's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. It is all connected. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And, you know, because a lot of people are like really focused and specialized in one area, and they know a ton about that one thing, but they're not seeing how it connects with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like to do is like step back and look at the connections, and I'm like, I can see it. And that's what, like in my book, I tried to like really show all these different areas, but like show how it's all connected, and how you know, there's so much going on, and it's all real. It's all going on, but it's so show the bigger picture with like that. It's all like a piece of the puzzle, and you know. So yeah, Sasquatch is very real. UFOs are very real. Sometimes a lot of UFO sightings happen with Sasquatch sightings as well. You know, that's why a lot of these like vortex spots are UFO hotspots and Sasquatch hotspots, just like where the conference is at, just like Board Camp Crystal Mine, just like ECETI, just like Mount Shasta, just like probably Sedona is Sasquatch, I'm assuming. A lot of these places, like Asheville, North Carolina, like it's like anywhere where there's this vortex, you're going to get a lot of these higher dimensional entities or crafts because of that vortex energy, because of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, we had a guest on our show a few months ago, even talking about the network of the mushrooms being connected with the trees and the elementals and connected with Sasquatch and everything. So it's just even the mushrooms and the fairy rings in your yard. It's all connected.
Right. Exactly. The fairy rings. Yeah. Mushroom. If you ever see a mushroom ring. Yeah. That's usually what that is.
You guys probably know or have heard this, or maybe have even experienced it, where the Sasquatch stay within the ley lines, or they usually like to be in the ley lines, whether it's the crystals or whatever. But I hear they also hang out and are in charge or protection of portals. So they monitor, or either they come in and out of them, but they also monitor other things coming in and out and try to protect us, you know, from any harm from things that shouldn't be coming through these portals that are opened up.
Right. Absolutely. It looks like we lost Tyler.
He's back.
Oh, he's back.
Internet.
So you are having internet issues.
Well, I was trying to send a video to my computer, which worked. I was going to share my screen and show you guys a video that I got from ECETI, if I can do that.
Oh yeah.
But in the process of doing it, somehow the internet just glitched out. I don't know what happened, but anyway,
I think I know what video you're trying to share. Is it the orb one?
No, the one where what happens is, I can preface it. And if you guys, is it okay if I share it?
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Which I'll do that in a second. So I'll kind of explain what we're going to be seeing before we actually see it. And I'm going to ask everyone to turn their volume all the way up whenever we play it. So we're out there at ECETI. What I like to do is, I realize, like, if you tell people, hey, I'm going to go out squatching tonight or whatever, you get way too many people come with you and nothing ever happens. It's just such a big group.
You get like 20 plus people, and then
right. And it really has to be down to like 3 people, honestly, to have something like really magical happen. So what I learned to do is just, you know, it's a big conference usually when you're there, and you can't, it's hard to sneak away, but you have to sneak away. And I just would go out by myself into like the Skywatch field or the woods there, and I just would see if I would have an experience by myself. So I went out one night by myself and didn't tell anybody, and I was out there for probably 2 hours, just sitting there meditating, just setting the intention, asking for permission, you know, whatever, and thanking them, being grateful. And then about 3 a.m, my friend Ben, he texted me. He's like, hey, where you at? And I'm like, oh, I'm out here in the field. I said, come on out. And so he comes out with his friend Rachel, and he has this camera with him with this light on it. And so we ask for permission to go on the other side of this fence, because you're supposed to ask for permission. You don't just like tromp into their land without doing it. It's like somebody just stomping into your house, like without your permission. It's very disrespectful.
Right.
So we set an intention. We ask for permission. and we immediately saw this like ship come across the sky, like this super bright power up, and it was like almost clearly, obviously, like, yes, come on. So we took that as a yes, and we went over the fence, and we were immediately, we had some stuff being tossed at us. The night before, I even had something tossed at me, but something was thrown at us. We couldn't see where it came from because it's pitch black, right? But we definitely heard something get tossed at us. So then Ben finally turns his camera on, and I didn't even know if I realized he was filming at the time. He had the light on the camera, and I literally felt something like a gigantic hand put its hand on my upper back, and it scared the shit out of me. And I turned around, and nothing was there. But nobody saw anything, nobody heard anything, but I felt the hand. Now let me rewind a little bit. At the conference earlier in that day, Aaron, you might remember this. We were standing watching the presenters in that doorway, and
I remember. Yeah.
And something poked my neck. Like it felt like something poked my neck, and I thought Aaron messed with me.
You thought it was me at first. Yeah.
Right. I was like, "Did you just poke my neck?" And then
Like,
you're like, "No." And nobody else was around, so I wrote it off as a muscle twitch or something.
And then I was standing farther from you.
Right. And then something like tapped I had my backpack on, and it tapped the shoulder strap of my backpack, but it was like a heavy finger. I'm talking like a sausage. Like it was heavy, and it was not, I wasn't mistaken this time. Like something was getting my attention. Like, what the heck is messing with me? So that's what started. So that night, at about 3 a.m, we're out there, and I have that hand, the same sensation. Something puts its hand on my back, and I turned around, and I'll share the screen, and this is Ben just happened to capture it. But what we didn't hear, we didn't hear anything. But when you play it back, you can hear 3 clear footsteps, because it's super dry grass out there in the summer. It's like crunchy. You can hear 3 loud crunch footsteps like walk up to me, and then as you hear the third one, I spin around. And in the video, it looks like I'm reacting to the sound, but I wasn't reacting to the sound. I was reacting to a hand on my back.
Oh, wow.
But none of us heard the footsteps in real time. Only the camera picked up the audio of the footsteps.
Wasn't there an orb that you see go into you as well? That's what I was thinking.
It's debatable whether it's an orb or a bug, but yeah, there's like at the same exact time I turn around, this like orb or bug flies past my back. But
okay. That's why I was calling it the orb video.
Right. Okay, so let me make sure my volume's up, and then wait, what the heck? Okay, let me share screen, entire screen. Okay, it just went away. Where did it go? There. Okay, so you can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone listening, turn their volume up, and you're gonna see me turn around. You're gonna see her freak out. But what you're gonna be paying attention to is 3 loud footsteps before I turn around, and that we did not hear in real time.
Oh yeah. Okay. Some of these are bugs, because I am seeing them in the light. But some of them are not.
So I don't know if you could hear that. It's super hard. Yeah, we'll do it again. There was 3 footsteps. There was something walking, and it literally put its hand on my back, and that's why I turned around. I felt a hand on my back. None of us heard those footsteps.
Oh yeah. Okay. Some of these are bugs, because I am seeing them in the light. But some of them are not.
And no one else was walking. Like there was no one else there walking.
No one was walking. Yeah.
And we reviewed this, and we've boosted the audio, and they're clearly footsteps, and there's clearly it sounds like something's walking that we just can't see. And and then right after that, we all saw a red orb in the tree lines. And then
Yeah.
Wow.
we started smelling this amazing smell that we could not,
And that's a
we,
commonly
we
reported
couldn't
thing.
identify it. We were literally on our hands and knees, like, what is that smell? We were trying to figure out where it was coming from. It was beautiful. It smelled so amazing. And we asked James the next day, like, what's up with the smells? And he said, well, if they release this beautiful like pheromone or something that smells like a welcoming, they're welcoming you. They're
That's
telling
what they're
you,
doing.
yeah, they're welcoming you. But if they stink, then it's like them telling
Stay
you that they
away.
don't stay away.
Yeah.
Wow.
So real quick, Amanda and I did have a smell at the conference last year. We had a beautiful smell, just like Tyler said, and it was right around the time when there was all this other people reported, Sasquatch kind of stuff as well. When Margie Kay had her experience, it was right next to our cabin, where there's no flowers, there's nothing that would have produced the smell. And it didn't happen before that or after it. It was just, we got out of our car, we started walking, we were going to walk inside our cabin, and we just smelled this beautiful smell, like Tyler just said. And we're like, where's that coming from? It was like somebody just dumped a bunch of perfume in the middle of nowhere, but that's not, no one did that.
It doesn't smell chemically like perfume.
But no, it's completely different. Right. And we're like, what? And then I had the thought, because I already knew that, I'm like, wait a second, I've heard that Sasquatch can make a beautiful smell if they're like welcoming, or they'll make a really nasty smell if they want you to stay away. So that was my mind automatically went there, because things.
So does it smell like a lilac or a flowery smell or perfume?
Kind of a really
what does it kind of smell like?
Beautiful florally smell, but like not but even better than any flower.
It makes you describe a smell as beautiful. That's what it does. Like which we don't typically do. You know, you don't usually smell something and go, "Oh, that's beautiful," but it's like it is a feeling that comes with it.
Right.
You're like, "What is that?" It's something so foreign.
Must have been a frequency with that smell.
Could be, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
And they have to be. I mean, they have to be in a different dimension. We're not seeing them, but you can hear the footsteps, you can hear the tapping or the hitting you. Jessica's been knocked out too, behind her knees when she's been out, but you don't see them. So they must have a gift to be in a different dimension, but physically do things in our dimension.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. When I was in Colorado with my friend, we were out in a tree farm skywatching one night. We just decided to drive out and skywatch him. And she's a channeler, and like one of the most credible channelers of anybody we've interviewed in the past 5.5 years, and just a real deal. And there was these three, what they call forest people. They said they weren't necessarily Sasquatch, but we can call them Sasquatch because we don't actually have a name for them, But they were there in the tree line, and they started communicating with her. And before they started communicating with her, we both sensed something over there. We both something's right there. We can tell that for a fact. And they started communicating with her, and there was three of them. And they basically described exactly where they were standing and what they looked like and all the stuff. And I was asking her, because she was communicating. I was like, can you ask them if they can show themselves? I would love to see them. I was being very sincere, and she started laughing, but she was laughing. I thought she was laughing at me, but she was laughing on their behalf because they were laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? I was like, no, I'm serious. I wasn't joking. I would love to see them. And she said, they're not laughing at you. They're laughing because they said they're not hiding. And they said that's when they gave me the whole message that it's up to me, and it's all about dropping into your heart. And they said that you can traverse the dimensions with your heart by dropping into your heart frequency. And if you're truly like in that love frequency, which is like what we all are anyway, whenever we're not like lying to ourselves and being fully honest with who we are and just fully resonant with our true self, and we drop into that heart frequency, then they'll become visible and we can see them and communicate with them. But they described it like they're not hiding. And then I said, well, can you shake a tree so I can at least like get some proof? And they're like, why would we shake our friend? And I said, they said, and I
Trees
said,
are
what do you
living
mean?
beings.
Yeah, they said, what do you mean? And I said, they said, would you shake your friend? And I was like, I never occurred to
Like,
me.
oh yeah.
And they said
Wow.
the trees that would hurt them. They said humans don't have the same relationship with nature that we do, but they would never do that to their friend. And it was just a beautiful experience.
Well, except that they do bend branches and things like that. But I'm sure they do that with the tree's permission.
Right.
That's the difference
Right.
there. Whereas
Yeah.
we just go out and do stuff without thinking about it, all the time.
Exactly. The tree might be like, yo, let's create a portal, and
Right. Right.
So there's just so many things that we don't consider when we're thinking about communicating with the Sasquatch, and they won't show up if you're out there trying to snap a picture or even hunt them. They know your intention a mile away, and
Yeah.
Yep.
If you see them, it's because they let you see them, kind of thing. It's like if they don't want you to see them, you will not see them, and that's why all these Sasquatch, Bigfoot hunters that have the wrong intentions, they're wasting their time basically, or they're gonna just get scared off. If they get anything, they're gonna get those more negative things because the Sasquatch are telling them to stay away.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, if you see them, it's because they let you see them. Because like Tyler said, they sense your intentions a mile away. They can phase in and out of dimensions. They're even not, like you said, they're not even trying to hide. It's just that you're not at the right frequency to
Right.
see them most of the
That's
time.
what we've heard too.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time about, we consciously try to raise our dimension, from the third to the fourth, and eventually everybody will be going into the fifth soon, hopefully. And they know that they can see you and know what your intentions are and what you're putting out way before you get anywhere close to where they're going to be. And that's why Jane and I will throw out love and kindness out in the universe, whether we want to see something in the sky or we want to experience something with cryptids or whatever it is. We put out that good love because love is the most powerful thing you can throw out in the universe.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. Maggie in the chat said that sounds like respect in nature to me. Exactly. I mean, it is the showing respect for nature and actually communicating with it. Like I talk to trees when I go on walks to the point where I'll say hi to a tree and then I'll say hi to another tree and then I'll start feeling bad because I'm leaving trees out and I'm like, all right, I need to like it's funny, but it's like, where do you stop? Whenever you start communicating with them. So you just have to kind of just put the general intention out there. And it's cool. It's beautiful. But in Arkansas in January, I was with my friend again and a group of people, and we went up this mountain where she was being led again because she communicates with these other dimensional beings. And we were led to the top of this mountain, and in the middle of a snowstorm, it was rainy / snowy in January, and we were like, we had wet feet and all this stuff, but we were on a mission. We go around and do like grid work and stuff, and we get up there and you feel it's almost palpable. You can feel shifting into these higher frequencies whenever you get into their land, right? And what happened is suddenly we weren't cold anymore. Suddenly you're not really thinking about the elements as much because that's all the 5 sense reality. But when you're raising in frequency, it's just not as palpable anymore. I don't know how to describe it. It's there, but you're not thinking about it. You're not being affected by it. And we were up in these frequencies and we heard something literally right behind us jump out of it. We heard something land on the ground behind us, right behind us. And we turn around and the tree is going, the tree branch is doing this. And my friend, she immediately starts getting the telepathic communication, and it was them, and they were like hanging out in the trees watching us. And I was like, well, why were we able to hear that and nothing else? It was like, because we're in there, we're closer to their frequency. We weren't in their frequency, but when you're even closer to it, you can start to perceive them in the ways of sound and sometimes just feeling, but we couldn't quite see them yet. But we very clearly heard the loud thud on the ground, and that tree was just going, like literally something big jumped out of the tree, and it wasn't windy, and it was just going, Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was unmistakable, and it was amazing, actually. So
Wow.
there's
There you go.
you can have amazing experiences, but we don't even bring our phones out there. I mean, it's just literally all about the connection, and we're going out to like sometimes do grid work and reconnect the energetic threads in the land and these ancient sites, and it's all about the intention. And when they see you out there doing that type of stuff, they're excited to make contact, you know. So it's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing that, you know, and we've talked about this before, me and Jane personally, about, you know, all these, we talked about Cahokia mounds. You know, obviously, you know, all these mounds and all these temples and things are on ley lines, and they actually had this older civilizations actually had ceremonies, just like you're saying. You know, they were connecting with nature and taking care of nature. They were connecting with the ley lines, and there's ceremonies and things they go through with, you know, to clear the ley lines and making sure, you know, because it gets bottlenecked too, especially nowadays with us, all this technology and everybody's thoughts and all the negativity around in the world. I mean, the ley lines get bottlenecked too, and you have to do exactly what you're saying. You have to clear those. You have to intentionally put your thoughts and things in it to reconnect, like you said, fibers and threads of the ley lines, and all the energy will get it to flow again.
Yeah, you nailed it.
And you know, it's like as above, so below. I can't talk right now. As within, so without. You know, so like look at your own body has energetic meridians and chakras, right? And well, so the planet does too, right? Has chakras. Those are like the energy meridians. And just like your body, those get clogged up and you have to clear them out. And that can manifest as diseases and things if you have energy blockages and things like that. Well, it's the same thing for the planet. So yeah, like doing this kind of work, you know, you're healing the planet essentially, and we're connected to the planet. So we're also helping ourselves by helping the planet and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
and it's important to understand that the dark controllers, if we can call them whatever we want, but they intentionally corrupt these ley lines as well. And they hijack it essentially. And like in our documentary Cahokia Untold, which I recommend everyone go watch if they're interested. I tried to put the link in the chat, but it wouldn't let me share it. But it's on our Rumble channel, Cahokia Mountain documentary. But we talk about how a lot of famous murders and ancient and battles were fought on these mound sites, which the mound sites or ley line intersections is because they were intentionally trying to spill blood into that ley line, and it corrupts the entire ley line, the global mound matrix they call it. It's all connected. You know, what happens here affects the rest of the planet. The same with, you know, the same concept of a nuclear explosion affecting not just us, but other dimensions and other planets as well through the cosmic web. It's the same thing. It's like a cosmic web, a mini version of it on the planet. And so they literally, like, intentionally, there's researchers who break this down. And if you notice, a lot of the famous battles and famous murders are taking place on these ley line intersections. And or they'll put a sporting arena there, or like a horse racing track or something where that's going to create some like animal abuse in a horse track, gambling, alcohol, something that's going to be a negative frequency in that area, just to hijack that vortex energy, because
corrupts the vortex and the energy. Yeah. So like at Cahokia, there's a horse racing thing right next to it.
Right.
And we're like, that's not a coincidence of why they chose that location to put that there, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, have you guys ever heard of, and this might seem strange, or maybe you have heard of it, that Sasquatch or Bigfoot can project their image and not actually be there physically?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard it in the form of an orb. Like sometimes you see an orb and it's them. I don't know about actually like projecting their image like it's like on Total Recall, like he can do. I don't know if that
was that like by location. I'm assuming it's kind of like a similar. thing. As I've heard that certain ET races can do that, and I've heard people say they can bilocate, and they've done it. So why wouldn't Sasquatch?
Right. Yeah. Great point.
Well, makes sense.
Great point. Yeah. I think that definitely in the form of an orb, but yeah, why couldn't they bilocate?
But the orb thing is definitely common.
Yeah.
And like you said, you guys saw a red orb, and that's a very commonly reported thing with Sasquatch is people see red orbs or orangish, reddish
Right.
kind of orbs whenever they're close by. And what I heard multiple people say, that is them projecting their consciousness out. And the orb is like their consciousness being projected out, and it can view 360 degrees.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's very
we've
interesting.
seen pictures of orbs, and we have one ourselves that we've taken a snapshot of one of our videos that it looks like a Bigfoot sitting inside of an orb. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. You can see the head, the shoulders. It looks like he's scrunched in, driving around in an orb.
Yeah, that's common actually. People claim to see like Sasquatch, ETs, just humanoid shapes inside these little orbs.
Yeah.
And it's like they're driving them or something. Yeah, it's funny. But and then there's a whole other side of the spectrum here. People have negative experiences with Bigfoot and things like Dogman, and they have people being kidnapped by them or even hunted or injured and whatever. But then that's where I tend to believe that we're talking about something a little different. Maybe the type of cryptids that Jessica Jones remote views as far as being an experimental government, like genetic hybrid program.
Right.
And maybe they're releasing some of these chimeras into the wild as an experiment. Sometimes maybe they're actually on a mission. Who knows? But I do feel like that some of those are actually government issue. You could say a government issued cryptid. And I think maybe those are the ones that people have negative experiences with. But I don't know. I mean, that's just a theory, right?
Well, I'm assuming that even if you think Bigfoot is just a blood and flesh creature, I mean, just like anything else, humans or any other animal, there could be good and there could be bad. They could be having bad days maybe, or whatever. I mean, who knows? It could be maybe somebody kicked out of the clan and they're off on their own.
I've heard that.
Rogue. They're rogue.
I've heard that very same thing, very similar testimonies. People explain situations just like that. So yeah, I believe you. Were you going to say something, Aaron?
People that have seen a Sasquatch, and they're walking right down the trail, and they glance over at him, and they just don't even pay attention to him and just keep on going like they're on a mission or they have something to do. So they don't have time to mess with us. They're
right.
Yeah, I mean the higher frequency ones are obviously not going to attack unless like maybe a last resort, but like it doesn't make any sense because they have their own protection of, like we were just talking about, if you see them, it's because they let you see them. So unless something negative has the ability to still get to them, but that's not human if they do, in my opinion, unless you're like astrally attacking them somehow. But even then, I'm sure they could easily defend themselves. But there's probably like, in my opinion, in my experience, the answer is almost always all of the above. It's like, yes, there's the more enlightened Sasquatch, the higher dimensional ones that have been around a really, really long time, in my opinion, longer than humans, in my opinion, on the planet. And then you have maybe some that are, like Tyler said, these secret government created ones that go around attacking people and things. And I'm not sure if there's other ones other than, obviously there's the Dogman we hear about attacking, so maybe that's more similar kind of to that, where it's like 3D and very aggressive and very territorial and that kind of thing. And maybe there's some species that are like that are around here and there. But in my experience, from everything I've heard, the vast majority of the Sasquatch are not that. They're the more benevolent,
right,
more higher frequency ones. And if they're doing anything like making anything scary or like a bad smell, like we talked about, or trying to scare you out, it's because they're trying to protect themselves it means your energy they're perceiving as a threat, and they're trying to stay away, basically. But they're not trying to attack you. They're just trying to protect themselves, kind of thing.
Right. Or protect their young. Yeah. I mean,
right, things like that.
Right.
Just like you talked about before, a lot of times we'll go out in the woods or whatever, and that's not our home, that's their home. And so they might be protecting their loved ones or children, like you said, or maybe maybe they're protecting you from a danger. Maybe you're getting ready to head into something, whether it's a dog man or something malicious out there, and they're trying to steer you away from going into that area.
Right. Could be that too. Absolutely.
That's a great
then we've got friends that have had dog men actually save them and help them from other dog men, and they're good, they're friendly with them. Wow. So you've got both sides.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That there's just situations and scenarios we just don't consider all the time. That's really interesting.
Right. We tend to think in these black and white. Oh, they're either bad or they're all bad or good, and it's not like that. Like
if a dog man comes and like swoops you up and like carries you 50 feet and sets you down somewhere, you could perceive that as an attack, or he might have been saving you from something, a threat that you were completely unaware of.
Right.
Yeah.
And whenever we talk about this, I always bring up Betty and Barney Hill. I mean, they got abducted. One of them had a good experience. One of them had a bad experience. And it might be how we project our energy or how we feel about the situation. If you're scared of Bigfoot or Sasquatch, you might have a bad experience. Whether you actually really truly have that, they might put that in your mind.
You're going to interpret it.
If you just want to experience it and feel the love of them and connect with them and know what they're about, then you'll have probably a good experience.
Right, exactly. So it's a subjective interpretation of the experience. You can say, "Oh, I was so scared. It was terrifying. It was horrible," and then you perceive that as, "Oh, these super negative beings did something to me," and it's like, no, you were just really afraid of it because you don't understand what's going on.
Right.
And it was different.
You hear different opinions. Should you gift them? You shouldn't gift them. Should you try to talk to them telepathy? Oh, don't ever do that. You hear so many different opinions.
Right.
Some people do gift. Some people say, don't you dare. I guess it's up to you and what you're feeling.
Exactly. It's specific to the individual and what your intention is. And I feel like if you're called to do either of those things, then do it. And if you feel guided not to, then don't. I mean, I don't think there's any written rules. I think people have suggestions and advice based on their experiences, which might be, worth considering. But at the same time, their experience isn't your experience. And you might be there to do something completely different. And I don't know. I think this is actually a very beautiful conversation because there's a lot that we don't really consider all the time that's coming up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because to me, I mean, if I hear some knocks, I'm in the backyard for hours. I'm knocking back. If I hear a whistle, I whistle back. I'm trying to communicate with them when I'm hearing sounds and noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And give out food for them and try to connect.
Well, I'm trying to gift them with gemstones and rocks, and there's a whistle. They got a couple little harmonicas.
Yeah, there you go.
So far, nothing's been taken, but they're behind the barn right now.
Yeah, apparently they love like apples and fruits and peanut butter and things like that.
Yeah, I know James talks about he puts peanut butter out and
peanut butter.
They put the lid back on. Well, raccoons don't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, Aaron, what's the book Sasquatch Message to Humanity? I don't know if you guys are familiar with that series, but it's
amazing books. You guys, if you haven't read them, you need to read. There's 3 books in the series.
It's basically channeled material from the Sasquatch clan about not only the history of our planet and galactic history, but also the history of them
and our own race and their relation to us and what's going on the planet and all kinds
and even how they're being targeted by the government and and they explain what that experience has been like for them because the government is very much trying to capture them and experiment on them as well.
And they're like, that's why we have to stay in hiding because they call them the Dark Lords. So we call them the Cabal or the Deep State or the Illuminati or whatever, New Order. They call them the dark in that book, at least the channel. It says the Dark Lords are always hunting us. they're destroying your planet. They're trying to mind control you guys, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, and also just unconscious humans are also hunting us. And he's like, that's why we have to stay. Well, we can't just come out in the open and live amongst you guys yet, because it's not safe for us to do so. But they're like, you can come to us and connect with us if you're in a, like everything we just talked about, if you're in that space. And then they're like, then it's up to us whether we choose to connect with you or not. But they're like, we wait for you guys to do that. Like, we're always here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's up to us, you know?
Yeah. It's Sunbow True Brother.
Sunbow True Brother. Yeah.
We interviewed him actually. And if you go to our Rumble and just scroll through our library, we did an interview with Sunbow True Brother, and he explains, because he wrote those books, and he explains his experience with the Sasquatch and communicating with them, and how, what it was like writing those books, and a phenomenal interview. So,
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, our friend that's in chat right now, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, he talked to us about Sasquatch, some of them being held captive or almost slaves to aliens or some kind of other race, and that they have technology with them that they keep track of them almost like a GPS or some kind of universal tracking device. And once in a while, one of them will break free, almost like what you see in the movies. Once in a while, one of them will break free, so they're almost on the run, or don't want to be found. And
wow,
that resonates. Why would that not be happening? It would be it'd be weirder if it wasn't happening. I mean,
with all we know, that totally.
Well, if you think about it, Chewbacca, he was a Sasquatch, wasn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So literally, that Chewbacca was based off of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
That's where they got
Yeah.
there. And that's actually true.
And he was basically a prisoner who escaped. Yeah.
There you go.
And other people have had experiences or vivid dreams of seeing Sasquatch on ships.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, now I want to go out in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Right. It's too bad it's raining. I'm gonna have to
we got a lot of good days coming up. So
right.
I don't have to go in the woods. I just go in the backyard close to the fields. We're about a mile from the Illinois River, and we just got massive fields, and there's trees, and I just sit in the backyard and I hear them and listen to them, and sometimes they sound like an owl, and you know darn well that's not a normal sounding owl. And I'm hearing geese, and I'm going, why are the geese nonstop honking down at the river? It didn't sound like geese. It sounded like something imitating.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They mimic animal noise, but it sounds off. It sounds like, wait, that's not.
So I got these whistles from Temu. I'm trying to, they're $1 a piece. I get them from Temu. So that's what I'm trying to gift them. I'm back there. I whistle. Then the geese go off. I'm going, there's no way that geese would start honking because I'm in the backyard doing a whistle.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting. You can hear if you just shut your mind down and just listen to everything around you. Different dog barking that darn well there's not a dog down that road that sounds like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's the owls as well. That's something that everyone was hearing at the conference, but in weird times of day and weird places. And even the first day we got there, the car full of us, we were talking about having a Sasquatch experience. We were just talking about Sasquatch, and then we had the windows down, and we heard, right as we brought up Sasquatch, we heard this owl so loud, like while we were driving, to where it got all of our attention, and we all collectively just felt like that wasn't an owl. And it's like one of those things where, there's no proof it could have been an owl, but you go with that feeling, right? And it was a number of people that were having experiences with these owls making sounds, and I feel like it really was them.
Did it sound like a big owl or one of these little screech owls that goes that kind of trill?
No, not a screech owl. No,
okay.
It's like
one of the bigger owls.
Yeah, they hold Bigfoots in a Faraday cage. The only way is to keep them. Yeah, so Carrie Cassidy actually interviewed a guy who claimed to be in communication with one of the captive Sasquatch, and he was explaining like how they actually were like relocating them from like this country to another country, and and they were like getting all this information from this Sasquatch, and like it was completely different than the stuff that we hear about from like the Sasquatch message from humanity. But people, and so some people like call bullshit and this guy's making it up. And I'm like, well, it's like, it just depends on which human that you have captive. They're going to give you a different history of their people than the next person. Right.
Right.
And from their experience, from their clan, from their perspective. So I found it actually more credible that it didn't line up perfectly. It's more real whenever it's like, no, this is this individual's experience. And a lot of people didn't resonate with it because it just sounded kind of too out there. But I was like, I feel like that it's not too out there. I feel like it actually makes more sense. But it was just lining up with what Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot said about keeping them captive in like a Faraday cage. Apparently, like they were using like an underground bunker beneath a missile silo. And they were keeping one basically captive for observation. And it was an incredible story. There was like a 2-part interview, and I can't remember the guy's name. I can look it up really quickly, and I can tell your audience if they want to watch it.
Yeah, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot's family, they have a relationship with the Sasquatch in their area, and it's just an amazing story.
And Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says they came from Maldek before the Grace destroyed it, and that moon came to Earth. Everything you're saying is right on. So there you go.
Right.
So when Maldek, which is now the asteroid belt, it was a super giant planet that got destroyed a long time ago.
Right.
The Sasquatch were beings on that planet, and then they came to Earth after that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So it's his name is Major Solomon Berg.
Another Berg.
Major Solomon Berg. It's a 2-part interview on Project Camelot, and I'm pretty positive that's the one. So anyone who's interested in that, I really do hope that's the right interview I'm thinking of. It is. Yeah. So anyway, if you want to go check that out, Solomon, SOLOMON Berg, BERG. ProjectCamelotPortal.com.
Nice.
I'm gonna check that out.
Oh, dude, you have to. It's yeah, he talks about a lot of the stuff. It's good.
Well, do you feel like these last few years there's been a huge increase in just UFOs and Sasquatch and cryptids and everything?
Everything.
Without question.
Yeah. I mean, even I'm just now getting outside because it's warm enough. I mean, you guys are in pretty much the same area as us. It's warm enough to be out there at night, but the activity I'm already seeing up in the sky, it's been unreal this year.
Yeah. It's pretty much, I mean, it's shifting times, right? We are moving, realities are merging, we're ascending, whatever the hell's happening, things are changing, and it's undeniable.
Yeah.
And I view it as a lot of the ETs are pushing disclosure themselves. They're like, all right, we're going to start showing up more and more and more and get you guys more and more acclimated to realizing you're not alone, that we're here. There's other beings here that are way more advanced and all that. Because if they just came out all at once, that would be too much of a shock. It would cause too much chaos. Obviously, there's still the control system in place. So it's like, there's all these things happening. There's like us that I view as like boots on the ground, helping with things, and then there's ETs that are kind of more behind the scenes helping, and then they're
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch is probably helping in all the ways they can do.
Right.
Craft making themselves they're making more visible so that we see it, and we're like, wait a second, this is real, And now even our own governments and things are coming out, and it's forcing them to admit that all this stuff is real that they've been denying and ridiculing for.
Right. And they're using terms like multi-dimensional beings, interdimensional beings. Like they're taking it, the conversation's been taken to a next level, and there's no putting that toothpaste back in the tube. And we're living on a planet now where our children are being born into a world where we're not alone. No matter which way you want to look at it, there's something else going on. And that's changed. That means something. That changes the game.
You know, even the Vatican put out the release about apparitions and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
new stuff.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a press conference on this stuff, and there's just, you know, they created that new disease. I forgot what it's called, that where people start seeing demons, and like
Right.
and so they try
Oh.
to. Yeah, so they're saying that, like,
Label on
there's been like 81 people diagnosed, and there's a name for it. But what it is people are claiming to start seeing humans appear as, quote, demons, or like, or, you know, monsters, I guess. And they're trying to tell these people that it's like they're just seeing things and they're throwing meds at them. But what I think is happening is there's some sort of veil that's thinning, or the illusion is fading, or some frequency is being broken.
They can't hold their form, because like reptilians, you know, they can appear as a human, but like now they're not able to hold that form as easily. However that works, and people are starting to see, oh shit, they like starts morphing in front of their eyes.
Wow.
I've personally, I mean, I've heard, you know, many people talk about seeing people shift in reptilians, but I personally know a few people that have their own personal stories of seeing what they thought was a human suddenly start shape shifting into a reptilian, just like, and now they're coming out literally on mainstream media saying, oh, if you see someone's face start to look like it's shape shifting into almost like a demonic form, that's a disease called this. And they
call it demon face syndrome.
Yeah. Because they're trying to get ahead of,
right.
You know, it's happening more and more. So
Wow.
Crazy
yeah,
time.
somebody put it's what does that say? Push up, whatever that says.
No, I can't read that.
In
No
the
way.
chat. Yeah, PMO,
Oh my.
aka demon face syndrome. So it is a real thing, and like the last time I looked, there was 81 people officially diagnosed. But it's the movie They Live. We've all seen They Live, and he puts the glasses on and he sees them as their true form. And at the end of the movie, he breaks the frequency, and the whole world sees them for what they are. Well, that's kind of what's happening. Like the frequency net, the illusion is dissipating, and people are going to start seeing these people for who they truly are. And they're trying to get ahead of the narrative by saying, oh, it's just demon face syndrome, and you need to go see a therapist.
Oh,
and
you
take
just have a
these meds.
disease, right?
Yeah.
You need to take these meds.
Like a frequency
take
glitch.
these meds to just numb yourself out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to Dolores Cannon, you know the Earth is going through a change, going into the fifth dimension. So we're all going to go along with it.
Exactly.
And me and Jane and you guys, I assume, are trying to raise your frequencies and your dimension to your higher self. So, I mean, eventually there's not going to be a veil because the Earth isn't going to have one. We're not going to have one in our consciousness. So, and they're not going to be able to hide themselves or protect themselves or whatever they're doing. So it's all going to be, all going to be in one plane unless Sasquatch and whatever else is dimensions higher than us when we get to the fifth. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people say that there is no veil, only our perception of it, you know, so.
So it's like we are creating the veil ourselves. Yeah. So like to me, it's like, so the planet that we're on is ascending, and there's actually tons of scientific proof and facts that point to that. Not just our planet, but the whole solar system, by the way. And NASA's own data shows that anyway, it's happening. And yeah, Dolores Cannon, that's what was coming through decades and decades ago. That's what's been coming through many other sources. Many people who their ET star family contacts have been telling them this going back decades. They're like, there is a ascension happening. There's a split, just like Dolores Cannon talked about happening. And you're either going to go with the planet, where the planet's going, or you're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
The old Earth, which I kind of view as a different timeline, but that's debatable. But anyways, yeah, you're either gonna have to go, if you're not frequency specific to where the planet's going, you're physically not going to be able to be on the planet because you're too different in frequency to where the planet is, and you're just not going to be able to be here. Just like, you know, we hear about like in third density, many races it like hurts them to like lower their density down this much, and that's why they won't do it, you know. And
I've heard that.
Well, now our planet's raising up to where a lot of these beings are, and if we don't raise with it, and that's our choice, and like some people just aren't ready for that, and that's fine, that's just where they're at. But like a lot of us are, and we're going to be going with the planet, or we're going to, maybe some of us choose to go somewhere else. But either way, it's happening. So, and I
Right.
think a lot of these things are all like symptoms that, like the demon face thing, these negative surface to self
So do
beings
you-
that have been like manipulating things, trying to like playing these games, hiding. They're not able to hide anymore like they used to, and even like everything like truths are all coming to the surface. Like nothing's being able to stay hidden like it used to, and that's all from the energies and the ascension,
Right.
pushing everything to the
So
surface.
do you guys think that since we're raising our frequencies and going to another dimension, trying to get to the other consciousness, and the planet's doing it at the same time, do you think that's why humans are living longer? Do you think because we're going into a higher dimension that we're able to live longer?
I
Yeah.
think,
If we stay in a third dimension, I think our energy gets drained, and that's why some people early on only lived to 30, 40.
Yeah.
Right.
Now people are living in the 80s and 90s. Some of them are even pressing towards the 100.
Yeah.
right,
Mhm.
absolutely. And our DNA is being activated more. All the junk DNA that's not junk, it's just dormant.
Yeah.
That's starting to be activated. We're naturally gonna start living longer because of all that.
Right.
Like
And
we should have
and
all along.
our DNA has been manipulated to I think our life expectancy should be hundreds of years, and it's been thwarted essentially. That it's been manipulated so we live shorter lifespans, but that's by
Right.
reactivating it and turning it back on. It's through evolution. It's going to change. Our offspring and their offspring, our grandchildren's children, are going to be living longer lives. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, we were talking. I was talking about this on another show with my good friend Robert Bauer. It's in chat right now, and somehow we got on the subject, and I just happened to think about, we're going to get a download that's going to upgrade our DNA. So I said, we're going to upgrade our download, and I don't know where it came from, but our cell structure is going to change once we get to that point where we're in the next dimension or the fifth dimension or even higher.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, it's people talk about we're going from carbon-based to crystalline-based beings, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So we're like the whole structure of our bodies is changing to more crystalline, which is a more coherent structure than what we previously were, and our abilities are all going to start coming online. Like we're all going to. Many of us are telepathic already, and we all have that ability, and we can all tap into that now. But it's going to start becoming more readily, just like naturally there,
Right.
more and more, where we're just all naturally telepathic, without even trying, and all the other abilities, even levitation and astral projecting easily, and all the rest of it. And how can you lie to beings when we're all telepathic and we know exactly what you're thinking and feeling, right? Like all these politicians and all these psychopaths that have been lying and manipulating humanity, guess what? That goes bye-bye once we're all at that level.
Yep.
You can't do that anymore, right?
I mean,
We all
we're
have
already
filters.
seeing it.
We all have filters and blocks on all that stuff, whether we put them on ourselves or another entity, whatever you want to call them, have blocked it for us. But once we get to that point, they'll all be released, and we'll be functioning and doing things that we were meant to do from the very beginning. Whether we're using full capacity of our mind, we're able to use all of our abilities.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, guys, this is we could just go on for hours.
Oh yeah.
We've already been on for an hour and a half. I
could.
think if you guys would like to come back, and we can discuss like dimensions and other stuff another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. This is a blast. Thank you guys.
We've just truly enjoyed this conversation with you two, and it's been really intriguing and very interesting to us anyway. I hope everybody else in chat and everybody's enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It looks like they have.
Yeah, thank you so much for reaching out and having us on. I'm glad it worked out, and this was a lot of fun, so thank you. And
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
I just
don't go anywhere. Go ahead and tell everybody again about your Rumble channel and where to get a hold of you. And
yeah. So we have a website, journeytotruth.online, where you can find everything that we do there, including links to our Rumble channel, our Patreon. We have a new monthly newsletter. If you want to sign up for that, it's free. The Patreon is only $5 a month. We do exclusive content over there and webinars. every other month, which are extensive deep dives. And if you've ever caught any of our webinars, you know what we're talking about. The latest one we just did is the Illuminati in the music industry. And part one was just released on Rumble today. We did it last month, but we eventually release them all publicly. But so you can follow us there. But if you just want to go straight over to Rumble and just give us a like and subscribe over there, it would be greatly appreciated, because YouTube wiped us three of our channels out, our main channel and both backup channels. So we're kind of we're done over there. So
it's like
yep,
they got our number there. Yeah, YouTube's like
everyone needs to find you on Rumble.
Yeah,
yep, find us on Rumble.
And go check out the website.
Go buy Aaron's book.
And buy my book. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, check out Aaron.
Review if you like it. They really helps.
Yes, I'm going to do. I saw your post. I am going to get a review in there and make sure it gets in there.
Thank you. Yeah, somebody already had theirs censored. It seems like, at least.
Yeah.
So
and if anybody is interested in catching the conference that we just did last week in Grafton, Illinois, the replay is still available too. And that is available on our website, journeytotruth.online. So you can just find everything there. And if you need to email us or get a hold of us, contact us. It can be done through there as well. So,
okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Very nice. So everybody go over there and check out Journey to Truth on Rumble and their website. And there'll be the contact info there if you want to email them or whatever you want to talk about. And speaking of which, we are ourselves, being a year out, we are inching closer to the 1,000 mark. So if anybody is new to the channel, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for us, and also do the same for Journey to Truth for Tyler and Aaron. Yeah. And don't forget, Monday night we're starting a new podcast with Dennis Carroll, The Road Less Traveled. And that will be on Hunting the Shadows, his site. And I don't know if we're going to multi-stream it to our site, because you
or just Dennis's.
Don't really like you doing that anymore. So I don't know if we'll do that or not. But we'll definitely upload it to Rumble in case you missed it. And we'll just go ahead and end the show here, guys. Thank you for coming.
And one more thing.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Oh, go ahead, Jane. I'm sorry.
Well, let the chat know that we did take a break for a week of our 24/7, because Aaron and Tyler don't. We got 8 cameras outside. Some are goat cams, chicken cams. They're behind the barn for orbs. So anyway, our 24-hour stream, we are going to get it back up and running sometime tonight, so everyone can go over there and hang out anytime you want and watch animals or orbs or skyfish or anything you want. But we just want to let you know that we just took a week off, and we will get the 24/7 back up going. Cool. And thank you, everyone, for showing up. Thank you, mods. We love you. And just appreciate everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. This was a blast.
All right. Good night.
All right.
Night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.